PR Connections Radio presents this episode of the PR Connections podcast is brought to you by Classy Communications PR and Advertising. Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
Welcome to Breaking the Silence, Finding the Courage to be Heard. Now, think about the last time you were in the care of a nurse. What was that experience like? Nurses are trained to stay composed, precise, professional, even in the most stressful moments. But we rarely think about the courage that it takes to use your voice inside systems shaped by hierarchy and pressure. Now, in nursing, there are moments when you don't have the time to find the perfect words, but you still have to find your voice, right? The instinct to advocate, the courage to question, the decision to speak, even when the room felt intimidating. So today's episode is about finding your voice before you find your words, especially in environments shaped by hierarchy, pressure, and responsibility. Because in healthcare, voice isn't just communication. It's also about care and compassion. In this conversation, we're going to learn to trust it. So today is about the nursing voice. The moments nurses advocate, question, speak up, even when it feels uncomfortable. Because in healthcare, voice isn't just communication. Now, have you ever opened up your mouth to speak and heard a version of yourself that you'd never even recognized? So today we have Mary Jo Agonad, who has been in the nursing profession for a while. Tell us just a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Well, I have been a nurse now for going on 46 years. I worked in California in a hospital for the same hospital actually for 45 years, and I retired from there and moved to Nevada, and now I'm actually doing home care. I enjoyed my nursing career and was not quite ready to officially retire, so here I am, still at it, but in a different capacity.
Wow, that's fantastic. And all I could relate when I decided that I was going to retire, in the back of my head, I was like, oh, am I just ready to sit back and eat bonbons and stare at the inside of my eyelids? And
That's exactly what I told myself. So here I am. I'm working, but fortunately at home care, you can actually eat bonbons and take care of the patient at the same time. So
oh, yes. Oh,
this
yes.
is in home care, not in the hospital.
Well, you stay in such great shape. I can't even imagine you sitting back and eating bonbons and taking care of people, but who knows?
Who knows?
So let's just get started too. So in nursing, we're trained to communicate clearly and precisely. So how would you define a nurse's voice beyond that clinical wording, especially when it comes to advocating for your patients?
Well, nurses do have the duty to advocate for patients. It's not always easy, but with time and experience, it becomes a little bit easier to advocate for them. Doctors are wonderful, but they are busy and they do come in and out of patients' rooms quickly. They do look at the data, the vitals, all kinds of labs and so forth. But it's really the nurse that's at the bedside and with the patient in and out for a whole day. That could be 8 hours, it could be 12 hours. And also, we might have the patient for a whole week. So we really do get plenty of time to know our patients and talk with them, and it's just a great experience to be with them all day like that. Now, the way it works these days is that patients don't get to stay in the hospital that long. When I first started working, Well, they might come in with chest pain and they could stay for 2 weeks. Now with insurances and everything, there's a deadline or a timeline, and that may be a couple of days now for chest pain. So everybody's under pressure to get these patients discharged. But it's it's nobody's fault, but that's just the way the system works. So while taking care of your patient, if you do realize that they're not quite ready to go, say they're being discharged today, and you notice that the patient can't even get up and walk, they can't make it to the bathroom, they're not eating. I mean, this does not sound like a safe discharge. So basically, at that point, we need to let the doctor know. I'm not sure if you know what's going on here, but this patient can't even get out of bed. I don't feel like this is a safe discharge. So, at that point, then it's up to the doctor to decide, should I let them stay an extra day, or maybe this patient needs to go to a skilled nursing facility. But anyway, we must speak up and let the doctors know what's going on, because safety is very important for our patients.
Absolutely. And especially since, as a nurse, you spend so much time with the patient, compared to, the busy schedule of the doctors as well. So you really do get to know your patients.
Oh, we do. And I mean, they may not have family members to advocate for them. They're frightened and afraid. So they really do need somebody on their side to, to help speak up for them and make sure that they're getting the best care possible.
That's so true. And, being able to use your authentic voice, especially when you are speaking up for them, is just so important. So in nursing, when you think about this, at what point in a nurse's career do professionals often feel like their voices begin to shrink?
Well, unfortunately, if you feel like your voice is beginning to shrink, that is a very low point in your career. Because if you are losing your voice, that does lead to burnout. And a burnout, if you are burned out as a nurse, you are just not going to have a very long career, because that feeling is horrible, to go to work and not feel like you can speak, or it's just that it just will not work. So as a nurse, you must be able to communicate daily, whether it be with the patients, the staff, or the doctors. We have the responsibility to take good care of ourselves, to eat right, exercise, keep ourselves strong both mentally and physically, because there is not a day that goes by that we can underperform. There really are no easy days in a hospital. Um, an example might be, well, as you probably know, nurses have to work holidays. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so it doesn't really matter if it's a holiday or not, we need to be prepared to work. So say you're scheduled to work New Year's Day and you've been invited to a big New Year's Eve party. Well, we all know New Year's Eve parties go way after midnight, so pretty much you're gonna have to pass on some things, because you need to get your rest. Because if you show up to work the next day, I mean, we got to be up at 5. We got to get to work and take care of these patients. I mean, if you have a really sick patient and you are exhausted and well, I won't go on all the things that might happen on the New Year's Eve party, but but anyway, we do need to, you do have to pass on things so that you feel strong and capable of taking care of your patients. And if you do take care of yourself, which that's what I tried to do for the last 45 years, less likely to lose your voice and to burn out.
Oh, absolutely. And, even though primarily today we're talking about being in the nursing profession, we have listeners out there just from all over. And I can guarantee, because it's this way, in the job that I retired, that it was always suggested that we have a healthy balance between our work life and our home life.
Right.
And, if we don't find that balance, then we are going to suffer from emotional fatigue.
Right.
But then there are also times when you're going to New Year's Eve parties and the scale gets tipped a little bit and you have to say,
Yeah.
nope, I gotta go. I
Yeah.
gotta go.
Yeah, I mean, in some jobs you can just sit quietly for the day, but in
Mhm.
nursing you need to be on all the time.
All the
So,
time,
yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
So now, speaking of, keeping it all together, nurses are expected to appear calm and competent and composed. So how can that pressure just to hold it together all the time sometimes make it hard for you to speak honestly?
Well, the pressure to hold it together is real, and it does make it very hard to raise concerns. But speaking honestly, basically, there's a few things that have worked to me for me, and and I'm doing it right now, stopping and thinking.
That's good.
And taking a pause before speaking is a skill that comes in handy, not only in the workplace, but also in life in general. Being proactive versus reactive is very helpful. You really do not, you really should think before speaking and just don't react quickly because, you may say the wrong thing. Um, being strategies to stay calm that I use are keeping keeping a good work-life balance of doing plenty of exercise, yoga, and practicing deep breathing. Um, Venting to fellow nurses really helps as well. Now, as far as being competent, looking and appearing competent, I mean, you actually have to be competent to appear competent. And
Oh, true.
yeah, so I remember one time I was in stroke rounds, and you have to talk about your patient and a lot of the stroke symptoms and so forth. And the stroke coordinator didn't think I did a very good job. So I asked her, I said, well, which books should I read so I can be a little bit more competent? She goes, books? You're not online looking all this stuff up? Now, of course, this was years ago when the internet was just getting popular and Googling things was just getting popular. But anyway, it's much easier to stay competent these days because now we have AI. So there's really no excuse for not being prepared and knowing things about your patient. So basically, if you are calm and competent, people are more likely to listen to you when you do have to raise concerns.
Yep, I would agree with that 100%. And I want to go back to what you said about feeling you can't feel competent if you're not competent, and you can't feel confident if you're not confident.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying it exactly the right way,
Well,
but
that sounds familiar, like I might have just said that.
but can you think about maybe your first or second year in nursing,
Uh-huh.
where obviously your confidence wasn't where it was, when you retired
Right.
after 46 years? Could you give an example of maybe some time where you didn't really feel that confident or competent, but showed up anyway?
I mean, there was plenty of times, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, but as a new nurse, a lot of times you're shaking in your boots because
Mhm.
you're very frightened.
Yeah.
So, you just have to keep coming back and trying, and hopefully one day you feel a little less nervous when it's time to speak up in critical situations that does arise frequently, actually.
Yeah, yeah, that's absolutely right,
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I went back to that point is because, with breaking the silence, finding the courage to be heard, a lot of times, you know, speakers, they don't want to do this kind of thing on camera,
Mhm.
or they don't want to speak up when they haven't been given sufficient notice and all of that. And
Mhm.
there's kind of a parallel between, when we first get started in our careers, we know inside we can do this, but then, it's early.
Mhm.
So you're thinking, oh, you might struggle, that
Mhm.
kind of thing. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
It's
you,
definitely, that's why you just need to keep plugging along, hang in there, And each day it gets a little bit easier. So
Absolutely.
that's the way it goes. Never give up.
Yep, you heard it, everyone. Never give up. So in environments, where there's strong hierarchies, because I'm assuming, at the time that you were, in your position, you had to report to this person and you had to report to the next person and so
Right.
forth. And in nursing, there is that strong hierarchy. Why do nurses sometimes feel that they may need permission to speak, even when they know it's something that they really need to relay?
Well, I'll just give a little side note. Back when I first started nursing, I mean, you used to have to stand up when the doctor came into the room.
Oh,
So,
goodness.
so yeah,
Yeah.
so nurses do feel the need to have permission to speak up, especially when you are dealing with these very busy doctors. I mean, doctors don't have it easy. So, um, but in general, they don't like their time wasted. So, as a new nurse, you may have a hard time distinguishing what is important and what needs to be said and what doesn't need to be said. So you must quickly learn how to approach doctors in a way that makes them want to listen to you. Um,
Do you have an example of this?
well, a little example might be, you call them at midnight and you tell them, oh, doctor, the patient's blood pressure is 170 over 100. Well, and that's all you have on the patient. Now, that's just not enough information for him. So he's a little disappointed that you woke him up to say that. So,
guess so.
they just click, hang up, like nurse, figure it out.
Right.
So anyway, as time went on, if I called them, I would be a little bit more thorough. So I would say, by the way, over the last few hours, the patient's blood pressure has been rising. It's 200 over 100. They are also very symptomatic, by the way. They're dizzy, they're vomiting, they're nauseated, and they have a severe headache. So this is a better, clear, concise message for the doctor. And in that case, when you speak to them in a way that they prefer, then they can go ahead and give a doctor's order and you can help your patient. But being prepared before you speak really does help people want to listen to you.
Absolutely. Preparation is key, especially in what you do and having to relay that information. And thinking about, the doctor receiving this phone call at midnight.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how he felt with the information that you shared. It reminds me of a segment in a workshop that I do that's called Pearls of Empowerment.
Uh-huh.
But one of the pearls is always remember to weave, as in weave the whys of critical facts and details.
There you
Because it's
go.
one thing just to say the fact or
Right.
the detail, but then weaving in those whys
Yeah.
makes everything a lot more digestible, so to
Mhm.
speak.
Right.
So yes,
That's very good advice, actually. Where were you when I needed you?
I'm always here if you ever need me. Oh, gosh. So, as we continue, thinking about what are some realistic ways that nurses can reconnect with their voice in like really high pressure settings, especially when time and energy are just almost depleted?
Yeah, well, there are several ways that I use to reconnect with my voice under high pressure settings. And for me, it's just basically getting back to the basics. It's amazing if you just follow a few basic principles, your voice can feel stronger and more confident. It gets back to, again, just taking care of yourself. Come to work rested. Do things on your free time that make you stronger, like yoga and exercise. Practice deep breathing, eating healthy. Um, don't eat too much sugar while you work. You'll have a sugar crash. That might make you a little dingy.
Oh, yeah.
So also getting plenty of fluids. Now I realized that a lot of times I was very fatigued or having a headache, and I couldn't figure out why am I feeling this way. I finally dawned on me I'm not drinking enough water. So just little things like being hydrated during the workday can make you feel a whole lot better. Also, talking with fellow nurses. I mean, who knows more how a nurse feels than another nurse? So, um, when COVID was around, the first time I had to take care of a COVID patient, it was very, very frightening. Um, I, I had my elderly father living with me. I really could not afford to bring COVID home to him.
Mhm.
So I talked to my friend Debbie. She was also going to be taking care of a COVID patient for the first time. And just us taking a couple of minutes to say, hey, we're scared, and reassuring each other that it would be all right, really helped to relieve anxiety in that kind of situation. And basically, if you if you're not anxious, and you're going to feel a lot better, and your voice is going to be present when you need it.
Absolutely. And, just having that camaraderie amongst your fellow nurses and having a sounding board when you're feeling, stressed or
Oh,
tired
yeah.
or fatigued or, confused about the situation and all of that, it just makes all the difference in the world. It brings back to when I was hospitalized for 6 days with COVID. And
Mhm.
that was in the very beginning where you couldn't have any visitors.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
really frightening.
I know I was on the third floor, but outside my window, I could see my husband who was sitting on the bench, outside because he couldn't
Yeah,
come in. So I could
yeah,
stand there and, wave that kind of thing. But
yeah.
he also found the nurse that was, you know, responsible for my primary care
Mhm.
and actually was able to get her to bring some things in for me,
Yeah.
and so just develop this, camaraderie all around between
Oh,
him
yeah,
and myself and the nurse and,
yeah.
you know,
Well, that's one thing that's so great about nursing is that you meet so many wonderful people along the way, and you do form a lot of nice relationships
that's
with
right.
people you would have never otherwise met. So that's kind of one of the best parts of nursing is all the patients that you meet along the way and their families, and being able to kind of encourage them and make them feel more comfortable when they're at their lowest point.
And for those of you who are listening out there, think about a time too when you have been involved in some critical care situations. And right now, just give a thanks to the nurse that was taking care of you as well. So you had mentioned too, while we were talking about, developing those relationships and so forth. So when we imagine that there's no one around, you also mentioned that you take time for yourself just to breathe, you
Mhm.
know. And I have been involved with an organization called Joy Lee, where as a community partner, and one of the mainstays of dealing with your emotions is a process or routine where you sit, breathe, think, and feel. You
Mhm.
sit in a place and you either imagine sitting in a place that makes you very calm,
Yeah.
and then you breathe. And so you do the breathing in and out until you feel that calmness in your body.
Mhm.
And then you think about being in the present, not things that are negative or affecting you
Yeah.
one way or the other, but then you think about that and then you just let your body feel what you're feeling at that time and then move forward to deal with it.
Right.
So, that has been one of the things that has helped me, that has helped a lot of people to
Right.
really deal with those situations.
Well, I wish management would have probably done more talking about ways of reassuring us so that our voice was stronger and more confident and calmer. So it's just kind of taken for granted that you're going to go in there and handle these high pressure situations. But like that technique that you used
Mhm.
would it'd be nice if we had people around that kind of teach you different coping mechanisms and ways of calming down. I think a lot of nurses would last longer in the profession if they had a few more tricks up their sleeves to relax.
Absolutely. And you're a testament to that because you've been around for 46 years. And who knows, maybe you'll go back into that past situation and offer to talk to current nurses about what it takes.
Well, I'm always looking for a new job. Is there any job out there for that? I'll volunteer.
You create the opportunity. That's what you do.
Okay, well, I'll ask you how to create the opportunity
Yep,
later.
yep. Well, we could do that. We could do that. So let's think about, and since I brought up the whole 46 years, you want to probably just sock me every time I say that. But when I retired, I had put in 45 years.
Yeah, well,
so
like we both started when we were 5, right?
That's right.
We were
That's-
child geniuses.
That's absolutely right. So tell me about some of the changes in patient care and even team culture when nurses are prioritizing speaking up as opposed to just trying to be, like they say, perfect.
Yeah. Well, when prioritizing speaking up over trying to be perfect, patient care is a lot safer. And safety is really the most important thing when it comes to taking care of your patient. Situations will arise where you can't do it all by yourself. So you need to know when to speak up and ask for help. Um, Everybody's busy, so you really do need to learn what is important and what maybe you should just keep quiet on. But knowing when to speak up could be a matter of life and death. So, say you are holding pressure on a cardiac cath patient's bleeding artery, and you can't stop the bleeding. For patient safety, you need to call out for help. Now, if you're trying to be perfect, you're going, well, I better just do this myself. But no, I mean, in this case, you have to be strong and say, hey, help, help, and another thing that has really made a big difference in nursing care is that they have formed a rapid response team.
Oh.
So when you get into situations, a lot of times you're trying to be perfect, you're trying to do it yourself. Well, this team has made it possible to call out and say, "Hey, can you come and help me with this situation? I'm really needing some more eyes on this." And this is definitely an acceptable way to use your voice, and it's great that they did form this team because it does finally make it a little bit easier to get help.
Right. Thank goodness for the rapid response team.
Uh-huh.
You know, a lot of us, and maybe a lot of our listeners too, if they haven't been in that critical care situation, maybe they see it in, TV dramas and that kind of
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
where things start to go south, pretty quickly.
definitely.
And sometimes a person feeling very confident will say, no, I could do this, I could do this,
Right,
instead of thinking, the situation would be much better if we got help
right,
to do it.
right,
So
right.
absolutely. So knowing the difference, knowing when to persist and knowing when to pivot
Exactly.
is just so, so very important.
It sure is. Yeah, it could be a matter of preventing a code blue from occurring.
Oh,
So,
Goodness
yeah,
gracious.
yeah.
Oh, yes. So as we head towards the close of today's episode, do you have anything that you'd like to share with current nurses out there or with the audience who are thinking about our nurses and how they've interacted with them?
Well, nursing is a wonderful career. It really is. Um, so if you're considering being a nurse, by all means, I would definitely recommend it. Dealing, it's not a profession where you are doing public speaking like what I'm doing now. I mean, you do need to speak up as we have been discussing and advocate and all that. But it is one of the most wonderful jobs that you can do because at the end of the day, you feel very happy for all the people that you have helped along the way, whether your voice be soft or loud or whatever. If you are helping people, that's one of the most wonderful things a person can do with their career.
Absolutely. And, just for me only, I just want to thank you for all that you have done over the I'm not going to say it again. But no, I'm so appreciative. And I know that our audience has learned quite a bit from our conversation today because your voice is part of patient safety. And, it's also a part of teamwork as well. And it's also a part of your own well being. So, if today's conversation reminded you of the importance of using your voice, even imperfectly, let that be enough. So I will end with this is Breaking the Silence, Finding the Courage to be Heard. And until next time, trust your training, trust your instincts, and trust your voice. Until next time, bye bye.
Bye.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.